What's up everyone, Jay here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with another Battling with a Budget installment. Today's installment's a little bit different from our usual ones. Normally we do budget decks for less than $50. This one's a little special, so the viewer that requested this deck, Hunter Miller, he requested that we build an Erebos God of the Dead EDH deck with a budget of somewhere in between $100 and $200. So this deck, the price of it right now, not counting the cost of Erebos, is $194.01. If you include the cost of Erebos, he's not really that expensive these days. The total cost would be $197.80. So we did stay under $200. It's definitely on the higher spectrum, very close to $200, but we stayed within that bracket of $100 to $200. So Hunter, this video is for you. I hope you enjoy it, and everybody else watching, I hope you enjoy it as well. So obviously our general is Erebos God of the Dead. He's a 4-cost 5/7 indestructible god, as all the other gods are. And as long as your devotion to black is less than 5, he's not a creature. What's really cool about him is that he makes it so that your opponents can't gain life, and then you can pay 2 and 2 life to draw a card. So he's got some, card advantage just built in by paying 1 and a black and 2 life. So he's pretty cool. If you manage to animate him into a creature, he's just going to be a 5/7 indestructible guy that you can probably just repeatedly swing in with and swing in with and swing in with, because he's indestructible. So why wouldn't you? But as far as the rest of the deck, that's Erebos. Let's take a look at the rest of the deck. First up, we'll do the lands. We have a Barren Moor for some cycling. We run a Bajuka Bog for the graveyard hate. Cabal Coffers. Relatively, kind of, I guess you could say, expensive card at about $14, but, it fit into our budget, and, this card is just a shoe-in for any mono black deck if you can afford it. Crypt of Agadeem will tap for black. You can pay 2 and tap it, and it gets black to your mana pool for each black creature card in your graveyard. Nykthos, a shoe-in for any monocolored deck. Polluted Mire for some more cycling. Then we run 30 Swamps. Then we have a Thespian Stage and Vesuva. My thought process on that was to copy our Cabal Coffers, because that's really nice. But, we can use that maybe on stuff that our opponents drop that we maybe want to, clone as far as what they're dropping for lands. We can clone something that maybe we like. So that's why more or less those are in there. I realize that I probably could have put Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth in here. But there's really no huge need for it in the deck. I mean, the deck's mono black, so it's not really going to affect any of our stuff. It would affect our opponent's stuff, but off the top of my head, I can't really think of too many benefits to allowing our opponents to also tap for black. Next, we'll look at the enchantments. We run Attrition as a sack outlet that kills guys. We run Dictate of Erebos, Grave Pact with Flash, and then obviously we run Grave Pact as well. Greed, so we can pay a black and 2 life to draw our card, so it's kind of like Erebos' ability, just it costs 1 less mana. Malevolent Awakening, a sack outlet that will get us creatures back from the yard. Palace Siege, you can choose either Khans or Dragons. If you choose Khans, at the beginning of your upkeep, you can take a guy back out of the yard to your hand. If you choose Dragons at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. I'll never pick Dragons on this card. I'll always pick Khans in an EDH environment. And then we run Shadows of the Past, pretty nice card from Origins. Whenever a creature dies, you can scry 1. So, creatures are going to die a lot in Commander, so you'll be able to filter your top card pretty repeatedly with this. And then it also has the ability where you can pay 4 and a black. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Activate that if there are 4 more creature cards in your graveyard. Next up, we'll look at our artifacts. We run quite a few mana rocks and then mana doublers. So we run Well, actually, I think we only run 1 mana double. No, we run 2. We have Argentum Armor. Equipped creature gets +6/+6, but when it turns sideways, you can destroy target permanent, so that's why it's in there. Black can kill creatures for days and days. It can't kill much else, so this gives us access to other forms of destruction. Then we run Caged Sun. It doubles our mana of the color that we choose, and creatures of the chosen color that we control get +1/+1. Gauntlet of Power doubles the mana of the chosen color whenever a basic land is tapped. It does work for your opponents as well, so if you choose black and they're playing black as well, it's going to benefit them, but generally if you drop something like this, you might be dropping an Exsanguinate soon after that to kill everybody, so pretty nice card. Gilded Lotus, a mana rock. Grimoire of the Dead, I felt like it was very fitting because Erebos is the god of the dead, so why not have the Grimoire of the Dead in the deck? Lets you pay 1 and tap it and discard a card and put a study counter on it, and then you can tap it and remove 3 study counters from it to basically get Liliana 1's ultimate ability, where you resurrect every creature out of every graveyard on your side of the board. Sisay's Ring, Mana Rock, Soul Ring, everybody knows what that does. Spine of Ishsa blows up a permanent when it comes in, and when it dies, it goes back to your hand. Thran Dynamo, another Mana Rock. Unstable Obelisk, another Mana Rock that you can pay 7 and tap it to destroy a permanent, so that's nice. And Whip of Erebos, it's Erebos' deck, so you have to have his Whip. It gives all your dudes lifelink, and then you can pay 2 and 2 black and tap it and resurrect a creature right out of your graveyard straight onto the board, and then at the end of turn, that creature gets exiled. Next we'll look at the sorceries. We run Dark Petition for a tutor, Decree of Pain for the sweep, Diabolic Tutor for the tutor, obviously, Exsanguinate, because what mono black deck would be complete without this card, in Garruk's Wake for the sweep, Life's Finale for the sweep, and Victimize because this is a really kind of like under the radar card. I just, when I was building this deck for Hunter, I noticed this card and I'm like, wow, why don't I play this in any of my black decks? It lets you choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard, then you sacrifice a creature. If you do, you return the chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. Yeah, they come in tapped, but I could sacrifice a friggin' creature token and get 2 of my bomb cards out of my graveyard right onto the board. So it's a pretty nice card. Next we'll look at the instants, mostly kill spells here. Actually, they're all kill spells. Go for the Throat kills a non-artifact creature. Hero's Downfall kills any creature or planeswalker. Murder kills any creature, and Rend Flesh kills any non-spirit creature. Next is the one planeswalker that we run. We run Liliana of the Dark Realms because she will fetch you up swamps out of your deck. She'll give something a +X/+X or -X/-X, where X is the number of swamps you control. And her ultimate is just, why she's in the deck. She was a shoo-in. If you get that off, all your swamps start tapping for 4 black mana. Yeah, sign me up for that right now. And lastly, we will take a look at the creatures. First up, we have Aberrant Overlord. Get you 1/1 flying harpies equal to your devotion to black when he comes in. He does make you sacrifice a creature on your upkeep, but you could potentially get boatloads of harpies with this guy, and then just start sacking those on your upkeep, and just have a massive flying army. Agent of Erebos, because it's Erebos' deck, so you have to have his agent, but he's actually a really good card because when he or another enchantment comes into play under your control, you Bajuka Bog somebody, basically. Archetype of Finality gives your team Death Touch and makes it so that everybody else's team loses Death Touch and can't have or gain it. Big Game Hunter kills a creature with power 4 or greater when he comes in and it can't be regenerated. Bloodgift Demon, basically a Phyrexian Arena on a 5/4 flying body, so that's nice. Cemetery Reaper pumps all your other zombies +1/+1. We have a few zombies in the deck, but not too many. But he's there for the graveyard hate, and he gets you a 2/2 black zombie when you exile a card out of a graveyard with him. Crypt Gas is there for the mana doubling, but the Extort, can be helpful at times. Disciple of Bolas. When he comes in, you sack a guy, and then you gain X life and draw X cards, where X is that creature's power. Drana, just there as some more creature removal, and she can smack your opponent pretty hard in the face because she's a flyer, so she's evasive, and, that ability allows you to kill a guy potentially and make her bigger, at least in the attack stat. So she's pretty nice. Flesh Bag. When he comes in, everybody sacks a guy. A pretty popular card in EDH. Geralf's Messenger. He enters the battlefield tapped, but when he enters the battlefield, somebody loses 2 life, target opponent, and he's got Undying, so if he dies, he comes back and does it again. Ghoulcaller Jissa is a sack outlet that will get you X 2/2 black zombie creature tokens onto the board, where X is the sacrifice creature's power. So if you sacrifice a 10/10, you're going to get 10 2/2s. So that's really nice. Grave Titan, 2/2 zombie token generating monster. He's a shoe-in. Grey Merchant is also a shoe-in. Will drain somebody for X, and you gain X, where X is your devotion to black. Grim Haruspex will draw us cards when another non-token creature we control dies. Harvester of Souls draws us cards when any creature dies, any non-token creature. Hell's Caretaker lets us resurrect a creature out of our yard right onto the board on our upkeep by tapping him and sacrificing a guy. Ink Eyes will resurrect a creature out of an opponent's graveyard when she hits that opponent, and she's got ninjutsu, so you can be tricky with that, and she can regenerate, so she's really nice. Limb Duel, the Necromancer. Basically, whenever one of your opponent's creatures dies, you can pay 2 and then resurrect that creature onto your side of the board, and it becomes a zombie, and he allows you to regenerate target zombie for 2 mana. Maga, Trader of Immortals, comes into play with X +1/+1 counters on him, and when he comes into play, target player loses life equal to the number of counters on him, so we have a lot of mana doublers, so you can drain somebody out of the game with this guy very easily. Scroll down here, we have Magus of the Coffers, essentially a Cabal Coffers on a 4/4 body. Mikaeus the Unhallowed. Whenever a human deals damage to you, it gets destroyed, and then other non-human creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Undying, so any creature that you have that is not a human will die and then immediately come back to the board with a +1/+1 counter on it, so he's really nice. Necrotal kills a non-artifact, non-black creature when he comes in, so just more creature removal. Nezumi Grave Robber lets you exile cards out of an opponent's graveyard, and then when you exile their last card in their graveyard, he flips into Night Eyes the Desecrator, so he's a 4/2 rat that allows you to pay 4 and a black and basically rise from the grave. He's essentially, that's what he does. He lets you resurrect any creature out of any yard on your side of the board for 5. Nirkana Revenant, a 6-cost 4/4 that doubles all your black mana, and it's got black fire breathing basically, so she can get huge very quickly. Ogre Slumlord generates you 1/1 black rats whenever another non-token creature dies, and rats you control have Death Touch, so that's pretty cool. Phyrexian Plague Lord is a really nice creature that I play in a lot of my black decks. He's a free sack outlet that can potentially kill creatures, and then you can tap him and sacrifice himself to give something a -4/-4. But just the fact that he's a free sack outlet and he can, potentially kill creatures with that same effect, or that same ability, I just really like him a lot. Puppeteer Clique will resurrect a creature out of your opponent's yard on your side of the board when it comes in, and it has Persist, so if it dies, it'll come back with a -1/-1 counter on it, and you'll do it again. Sepulchral Primordial will resurrect a creature out of every opponent's graveyard for you, right onto your side of the board, so that's pretty nice. Sheoldred, a shoe-in for any mono black deck, a 6/6 beater with Swamp Walk that makes it so that you resurrect a creature out of your yard on your upkeep, and then on your opponent's upkeep, they have to sacrifice a guy. And then we have Sidisi. When she comes in, you can exploit a guy, and if you exploit a guy, you basically demonic tutor, so that's really nice as well. Alright guys, so that about wraps up the deck. More or less, Hunter didn't really give us like a theme that he really wanted for the deck, so I kind of more or less went with mono black good stuff. The deck can really ramp pretty hard. It's got a lot of mana rocks and a lot of mana doublers, things like Gauntlet of Power, Cage Sun, Crypt Gas, Nirkana Revenant, things of that nature that will double your black mana, Cabal Coffers, Magus of the Coffers, and then we also have, the mana rocks and stuff that really get us there and let us, put pressure on our opponents and get those big, huge, splashy spells out faster. And then we have like a finisher like Exsanguinate where we can, just drain everybody out of the game. We also do have, a pretty decent amount of recursion, with stuff like Hell's Caretaker, Ink Eyes, Puppeteer Clique, some of those things resurrect stuff out of your opponent's yard, but it's still resurrection nonetheless that'll get you a creature on your side of the board. And Erebos, he's more or less there just to get you card advantage, to get to those big splashy cards and get them out on the board and smack face with them. And your opponents can't gain life. So, if they're playing a deck that's, maybe built around life gain, you drop this guy, they're going to cry because they can't gain life. So, I think the deck came out pretty decent. Excuse that Firefox update there. But, that about wraps it up. Just a couple other things to talk about over here on the side. Nothing to talk about here because it's a mono black deck. But naturally, with every EDH deck, a third of your deck's going to be your land base. With this deck, we do have a very hefty portion of it as creatures. We run 31 creatures. And then the rest of this little pie graph here is composed of the rest of the cards. We run the 1 Planeswalker, 11 artifacts, 7 enchantments, 7 sorceries, and 4 instants. Our mana curve, not the greatest, but it's not the worst either. We have 1 spell to play on turn 1, a couple on turn 2, quite a few on turn 3, equally the same on turn 4, a little bit more on turn 5, and then we do curve down from there, from 5, to 6 to 7 to 8 to 9. So, once you get to turn 5 and, past that, you could potentially drop a few spells a turn, especially if you get your mana doublers and your mana rocks down. You can definitely drop multiple things a turn past turn 5. And our average converted mana cost is 4.52 according to this, so it's not terrible. It's really not bad at all. Like I said, with the mana rocks and the mana doublers, you probably won't have too hard of a time getting your big stuff out on the board. And as far as the types of tokens that this deck can generate, it can generate 2/2 zombies, 1/1 harpies, and 1/1 rats. So yeah, that about wraps it up, guys. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hunter, I hope you enjoyed it especially. I hope you take some inspiration from it if you're looking to build an Erebos deck within this budget range. I know it was kind of on the higher end, pretty close to 200, but I really hope you do enjoy this deck. Leave me some comments in the comment section below, Hunter, if you like it, you don't like it, if you think I missed the ball on some, mono black cards that you think would go really good in this deck, let me know in the comments, because I really do like to hear your guys' comments and suggestions. And everybody else watching, leave me some comments too. Let me know, did you like it? Did you not like it? What cards would you put into the deck? Things like that. But if you did enjoy the video, please thumbs up the video so we know that you guys enjoy it, and so that we know to keep making videos like this. Obviously, throw me some comments, and if you're not already subscribed to our channel, please hit that subscribe button. We really do appreciate it. But this has been Jay with Tap and Turn Gaming. Again, hope everybody enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and we will catch you later. Thanks a lot for watching.